So you're locked into that portion.
Okay, we'll talk about that after. Let's do your thing.
No, you're all good, but you're locked in.
Do you want to take these off for the no boost 30 thing?
No, baby.
Okay.
We're hitting it now. We're already in. So hey.
Let's do it.
We're back. We are back, and Joel Pilka here with Tony Jones. We're got to mute this in the background. All right. So you guys have been watching the show for a while. Tony and I are both into different things, and something that you've probably heard by now is No Boost 30. And so I'm a co-founder, co-creator of No Boost 30. And what that is, if you don't know, it's a 30-day, like, take a break from alcohol. You could call it a challenge. You could call it a journey. You could call it whatever you want to call it. Coaching.
Both.
It's both. And when I was just, kind of getting through it and wanting, to share it with others, Tony's like, hey, I would love to see it when it's done. And I said, well, why not? Give it a shot. And so he went through the whole program, and that was
detailed. I took notes.
He took notes. It was awesome. It was like your best friend would do. Like, he's like, hey, this, you misspelled some stuff. There's a page repeated. You doubled up some pages. Like, but this is really cool. This is great. Like, keep pushing. And then, so that was probably, was it February?
Dude, it was January. I did the first group, your first group ever, right after the new year. You launched it January, right after. I had literally decided that it was time to quit drinking, and I didn't know how or what to do, and then it was just like this fucking magical gift was dropped down from the sky by my best friend, and you're like, seriously? I have the program, and I'm like, what? And you're like, yeah, dude, here it is, do it. And I'm just like, oh, okay,
yeah. And it was awesome because you were like into it, and you did the whole thing, and it was no BS, and that was like, you were all in. But what happened? I mean, you stayed with it. It's been locked down. Did you come and dip in and not dip out after the 30 days, or what happened with you on it?
So your guide, you have a guide that you use when you do No Boost 30 with Joel here, and he gives it to you, totally free. Everything's cool as far as the guide's concerned, and you could use that forever. No Boost 30, you could use forever, and that guide you could refer to forever. And that's totally the game changer part for me, because I didn't even realize it at the time. Because when you're looking at stuff like that, you would ask like, hey, let's create some goals. Like there was that was one of the days. Another one of the days, you're like, hey, let's talk about the things and the people that you love, or let's talk about the things and the stuff that motivates you. There was a lot of like questions, and there was a lot of stuff that like engaged your thought processes. It wasn't like booze is bad.
Yeah.
Your lip. Stop. You weren't like showing gruesome pictures of somebody like dying on the bathroom floor after they were puking after a night. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like an AA thing. It wasn't like a, hey, I'm a drug addict and I need help type of thing. It was none of that vibe. It was more of like like you said, it was, hey, let's start a journey together. And the only thing I ask for in this first month is for you not to drink.
Yeah,
that's it. Just so that we can start the journey straight up, straightforward, clear-headed, and then we'll see what happens from there. I'm not telling you to go and stop drinking forever and put the booze down forever. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, just give me 1 month. Let's just kick it off, nice and clean, and whatever happens from there happens from there. But I'm telling you, after that first month, shit'll be different. And I'm just like, okay. And I'm like, challenge accepted, Joel. And here's what I'm going to do for you, because we're buddies, obviously, and we do this all the time and everything. I share similar passions and stuff. I'm like, I'm going to take it uber serious. I'm going to print it out.
Yeah.
Do it by hand, with pen. I'm going to make mistakes and have to scribble them out or white them out.
Yeah.
The whole thing. I'm like, I'm going to show him this. I'm going to tell him this, whether he wants to hear it or not.
Sure.
I'm going to do the whole thing as honest as I possibly can. I'm not going to be like, it's great, you're my friend, the program was great.
Yeah. And then
the program sucked. I've been like, let's talk on the side really quick, and we need to have a serious conversation.
Yeah, you're disconnecting here. Like, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah. I like the idea, but you're not even close to first base here. But
sure.
It was not like that. I was actually blown away, because you hadn't really told me any details. You hadn't really given me too much about it. You were just like, here's when we're going to kick it off. I want you to be part of it, and just put your email here, and everything will just happen from there.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. You know, like I kind of thought it was a little bit off the cup, off the cusp, like a little bit, unprepared. I was
Sure.
just kind of confused why you didn't really tell me anything. And I was just
Yeah.
like, whatever, no big deal. I'll play the game. But then when I got the freaking manual and I started to look through it, I was like, oh, dude,
Yeah.
this is really good. I'm like, there's a lot of cool shit in here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they put a lot of time into this. And I was like, the amount of time that you could tell that you put into it and the amount of effort and the quality, I was just like, dude, I need to provide that same level of effort and quality back to Joel. Like that's when I had made up my mind. I was like, now print it out, write it out, do your thing.
I love that.
Jump in.
No, you're great. I love that you printed it. I want to hear, that. And so, okay, so for me, and then to see how that relates. So for me, I had tried to stop for a while, and then it just like I would try to do 30 days, and then I would, always make up a reason to drink again, right? Probably like
everyone does.
I'd always make up a reason, and then at some point I finally did it, and then it is strange about the 30 days. And for those of you that are in the group and that see this, you'll know, like you'll go. Like your first week, if you make it through the first week, you feel great. And then after like maybe week 2, you're kind of like, you start maybe getting bored. And then you're like, I feel good, but okay, like whatever. But if you push through and you get through the 30 days, you have this sense of pride for one. And if you want to go back to it, you can. But a lot of people, I'd say over half the people say, I'm just going to keep going. I like the little streak I'm on, right? And so
11 and a half months.
Yeah, so 11 and a half months. Like something changes. Mine's, going on almost 6 years, right? But that was like a choice that I made prior. Like I knew, but a lot of mine was even superficial. Like I wasn't even breaking 80 in my golf game, and I'm like, well, if I'm drinking 9 beers or 10 beers or 14 beers every time I play, how am I ever gonna break 80? And sure shit, now I'm straight. Yeah. How can I drive the cart straight? Gosh sakes.
I see tree holes over there. I want to hit it in the middle one.
Well, and so there was a lot of that, but there was relationship stuff in it, as you guys know from my story. And so, you came through it and just decided you weren't going to, pick it up again. But then your life and, sometimes, and I'm going to bring it up, but sometimes you'll credit like the stuff you've gone through in the last 9 months or whatever to this kind of being a catalyst. And that's what I want to say to people is like, you don't have to start it up again. We're not asking you to stop forever, but it's cool to even connect with a buddy on it, like do it with a friend.
Yeah. You get a choice at the end of the 30 days. You have options. I mean, like, how cool is that? So like you now you could stay sober for another month, another week, another day, whatever you want. You take it day by day. You could set a goal for yourself. That's all in the freaking book too, or the manual as well. Joel will walk you through all of this in the manual. It's really cool.
So the manual
you can refer back to it. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's exactly right. The manual is free as of now, right? It's the 30 days.
That's what I'm saying.
You get it. You can do it on your own. We put the kind of the coaching piece on the back end now, where if you want to be in the group, the private group that you guys are in that are seeing this from now on, if anybody's coming in here, they're paying for it, because we want to start doing really special stuff in here for the people that like want to stay a part of the group and want to keep this a part of their life, or like if you want to jump back in, you can. And so we have a bunch of options. Now you have options. I got interviews lined up with some of the people that were in the group after you, and people are like chiming in and they want to be part of it. And so you and I do, and what you guys are seeing here is a podcast that Tony and I do usually once a week. We've been doing it for at least a year. Or close.
Time flies, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah. And it's, we've kind of figured out trying to figure out what we're doing here as far as what we want to talk about. It's had a couple different show titles.
And look, we're not exactly consistent all the time either, because we have lives, and life goes on. But we always keep coming back and press and play eventually. And that's all that matters.
It's like the same thing. It's like just the consistency of running or whatever. And so it's all, our show is really about, well, it's kind of centered around mind, body, and what we call goal, right? So it's always like, what are we reading? Here's a book I'm reading. So mind,
changed. That's been solid.
That's been solid. The body, like, what are we working out? What kind of workouts are we doing? Hence
this.
My brother sent me, this guy sent me this weight vest that you'll see, and it's got 40 pounds in it. Now I took some of the weight out.
I was going to say, you left off.
It literally just came today. No, when I put it on, I literally couldn't even bring it in the house. I started laughing because I went to pick it up, and usually Payne's like, hey, we have a package, I want to get it. I'm like, dude, go for it. I could barely pick it up. So I put the thing on, and it took my breath away. I was like, so how much weight have you, pun intended, have you lost since you stopped drinking?
So no boost
Great.
30
Yeah.
when I started. Was that one of the questions? I don't remember off the top of my head. Did you have to
No,
put weight in there or something like
you
that?
don't have to. We do ask in the beginning, like, hey, why don't you write your stats down so you
Yeah,
can
okay, I
take a
thought- I
look
thought
at
I
the
remember
end
something
or
like
take
that.
a picture,
A
you know?
comparison or something, right? That's what it
You
was.
know,
Yeah, you need some of that.
Do like a comparison picture.
Because it's been almost a year since I've done it. I should do it again. That's what I should do. I should do it again.
Yeah, I need to edit some of it. I mean, I had an editor look at it, so it's like better. But I don't know.
Do it again for you though. I'm saying, you know.
Yeah, thanks.
But and you kind of reached out and said, "Hey, take a look at some of this stuff too." So we need to talk about that on the side here too. But
lost a ton of weight,
when I started at the beginning of No Boost 30, I was right around 225 pounds, and that's not crazy heavy. I'm 6'2", so I'm a big dude anyway.
Yeah,
and I also have some muscle on me, so muscle.
I got a bit of muscle there.
I got some guns, and I never really thought I was fat. I never really thought I had a weight problem.
No, you never looked fat.
Never looked like it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
But then you commit to something like no booze, right? And you also commit to something like just getting up and walking around and moving a little bit more. When you're not drinking, you're not hungover, you're not sleeping in, you got a lot of extra time, and you got to allocate that time somehow. You got to do something with that time. You can sit there and watch TV and shit. It's better than drinking. It's better than being hungover. You can sit there and do nothing, twiddle your thumbs. You could, search the internet, look at Facebook. That's still better than being hungover as piss on Saturday or Sunday for 5.5 hours until the Advil and the chili get out of your system that you ate at 3 in the morning the night before.
Yeah.
So what I decided to do was just play the close the rings game. I always talk about closing the rings.
That's the best, man.
And me and my man here, we compete. And drives me fucking crazy sometimes when I'll see this guy and I'll be like, he's got 2 extra hours. I know he's gonna hit 600. This is such bullshit,
Yeah, with the 2-hour time change.
Yeah,
because I could wait. I'd be like, oh, it's midnight. All right, now I can go knock some stuff out, and he can't catch up.
I knew it. So
no, I wouldn't.
Yes, you do. But anyway, that's the best part. You can game it.
You can.
So anyway, so I'm like, now I got all this extra time on my hands, and I got to do something with it. Now I just decided to get a treadmill because COVID hit right after we finished No Boost 30. COVID hit. I actually went to Florida real quick before COVID hit and locked everything down, which was awesome. But then I got a treadmill because I couldn't go to the gym. I wanted to move. I had to do something with that time that I had now from not drinking, not being hungover, not having all those problems. I had committed to some stuff in your program that I wanted to hold true to.
Nice.
I had set some goals for myself in your program. I continue to use those same goals in my journal, that 13 weeks best self journal that I always talk about with you. So I pretty much took everything that I learned in No Booze and translated it into my personal journey, because you were still vamping the program and going through the second groups and stuff like that. But I did not want to waste my progress or my my momentum. I wanted to keep it going because it had worked so good and everything had gone so well, and it blew my mind. It was, like I said, it was way better than I thought it was going to be. Like I thought it was just
I remember you saying that to me, and
nuts.
I was like, that's like a great compliment, but also like, what the fuck you think I'm bringing here, kid?
Yeah, well, sometimes people come up to you and be like, I made a pair of shoes. And you're like, what?
No, and we still want to be supportive, right?
Yeah,
right.
But I'm just like, that's not how this works. But I get this thing from you, and I'm like, you made this? Like, yeah, and you're like, yeah, dude. What? And I'm like, this is freaking amazing. This is freaking amazing. So anyway, I just decided to start walking, closing my rings, no booze, and that's it. I said, just stay on target. Keep moving.
Stay on target.
Months start clicking off. Time starts going. COVID hits. COVID locks everything down. I stay true. A lot of people start boozing heavier. A lot of people stop moving. A lot of people stop doing all these things. And I see it. And I told you this before too. That made my mind change again. I'm like, okay, I need to double down on everything that I committed in Joel's program now. I need to double it. I need to 100 exit. And I was just like, dude, that's what I'm going to do. So I doubled down on everything. I'm like, I need to double down on my, I had a goal to get out of debt. And that was one of the things that I put in your program. And I was like, I need to double down on that. I need to double down on, my weight loss. I need to double down on my health. I need to double down on, what I'm eating. I need to double down on all of these things.
2 pizzas, 3 pizzas. What do I got?
only half pepperoni. And exactly. So I was just like, so I was like, that's what I need to do. So I stepped up my game. The weight starts falling off. And it was crazy. There was like a tipping point, Joel, like in Marchish, like middle of Marchish. So I hadn't been drinking since, January, February, like March, like 2.5 months. So that would be like, let's say 10 weeks. No, wait, that's 10 weeks. So like 10 weeks in, I hadn't really lost too much weight. I was kind of going a little up and down, but it wasn't anything crazy. I was like maybe 222-ish. I lost like 3 pounds only. And it surprised me because I was like, man, I'm surprised with all that sugar that I just cut out of my diet.
Sure.
I thought the weight would be falling off me.
Yeah.
Well, once March hit and I got into that 3rd week of March, I was dropping 5 pounds a week. Like
nuts.
Clockwork.
Yeah.
To make a long story short, because I want you to run with this a little bit more here too.
Yeah, sure.
Today I'm at 179. I weighed in 2 days right before this meeting.
That's really cool.
I'm at 179. I started at 225 and I weighed in at 179.
That's a big deal. Like, when's the last time you weighed under 180? I mean, as a
grade.
Grown man.
I'm dead serious.
No, I
double
believe
striper on the Jets. You were on my team.
Oh my God, dude. Were we on the same team?
Yes, you were my quarterback.
No, that was Eddie Main.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Oh,
Eddie Main.
you were a
I'm
double
sorry.
striper. I was not. I was a striper, and I was like 105.
Yeah, no, I was a defensive end.
Unbelievable, dude. Yeah. That is amazing.
I got my jersey upstairs. You want
to get? I love that. That was a glory days right there, man. I love that, how much weight that is, because again, putting these vests on, now I have 16 pounds in it, so I'm right about 180. So this would bring me about to 195 or so, right? Which I was probably 195 a few weeks ago because I've been eating too much pizza and stuff. But the COVID thing, as far as moving,
186.
Well, okay,
with
so.
This on.
Yeah, but the weight thing though, as soon as I put the weight vest on today, because I got it today, it was like I put all 40 pounds on it, and it took my breath away. I was like walking around the house with it, and I was like,
think about that, dude.
Oh my God, like it took my breath away, and I thought, I know that it would be distributed differently if it really was 40 pounds, but still to feel how much that is. You said you like to put the vest on every so often to remind you how that felt, and it actually feels a little disgusting. You're like, if this was really added weight to me, it would feel gross, like
just wrong, or just like, how is this possible?
Yeah.
How do I live 24/7 with 50 extra pounds on me?
Like
how?
Oh, and this is the exact thing. Again, that I will be home in this program till day one, because a lot of people don't want to give it up. It's not that they ever want to give it up forever, and a lot of people do, but it's about giving yourself 30 days to change your mind on certain things. Maybe you don't eat pizza, 2 days a week. Maybe you don't eat it 2 days a week throughout the entire month, and so that's an extra 7,000 calories that you had to eat after 11 p.m. I love the Domino's app. I love it. That's probably why
taco stands and everything after you're done boozing and stuff.
Right?
That's a big
it's just
deal,
that late night food, yeah. And so, and a lot of people will add to that, and so it's like, it's just imagine of just changing the brain for 30 days. So I love that you said that. During COVID, I'm proud that we somehow, it was just luck, I feel like, or the whatever you want to call it, that we got on this fitness thing kind of at the same time, because all of COVID just became like my fitness goal, and it was a good thing to get the hell out of the house.
Well, do you remember how that started?
Stir crazy? No.
You were kind of a little out of sorts. Everybody was with the COVID hitting.
Yeah.
Right? And you were hitting me up all the time, and you're like, Jones, man, I got to get my mojo back. I got to get my flow going. And I'm like, okay, let's break this down, Joel. I'm like, let's break this down a little bit. When you wake up in the morning, what is the first thing that you think of? That's not like maintenance on your body. Like, I got to brush my teeth. I got to I got to go to the bathroom. I got to kiss the wife before she leaves. I get that, like everybody has to do that. But besides that, what's the first thing that comes to your mind that's not like maintenance crap in the morning? And you're like, easy. I try to get a workout in if I can before I go to work, or before I could take the pain to school, or before I have to do whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, boom, that's it.
Yep. And then
focus on that.
That's what it became. So it was immediately. And now I really have gotten to the point where
you're going to buy a farm gym.
I'm going to buy a farm gym. I am. We're moving to Nebraska, and I'm going to find a farm gym. Go
ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's perfect. I got to the point though where I finally became one of those guys that, if like today, Payne and I, because they got sent home back because COVID, so now he's home doing homeschool, and Jenny had a really long day at work. Permanently for now. And so Jenny had a long day at work, and then she just got home like like an hour ago, and I was like, hey, I got a podcast in 45 minutes. I got to go for a run. Like I'm getting to that guy where if I don't get out of the house for a run, I start getting like just kind of ornery, and I'm like, damn it,
you got to get the poison out. That's what I always tell myself when I'm too lazy. Here's the best part too. Let me just jump in here real quick.
Yeah, perfect.
Exactly what you were just saying, right? So like, there's days where you didn't sleep good. Your kid had you up late because they were sick. You had to get up early in the morning because of a meeting, and it's now 3:00 and you're fucking tired as hell. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, dude, I only got 328 points and I got to get to 1100.
I know.
You know, like I got to work out for 60 minutes.
I know.
Maybe I just won't close my rings today.
Yep.
You know? And I'm like,
I say that a lot of times.
I'm like, God, I do too. Everybody does. And I'm just like, God, you know what though? If I don't do this, A, I'm going to be disappointed in myself. B, I'm not going to get the crap out of my system, out of my head that I need to. And you always hear people talk about, I run because I can think about things and stuff. Yeah. And you're like, well, whatever.
I was like, what? Yeah.
Yeah. It's so true. But I didn't know until I tried. You know, it's like it's just like anything else in the world. Like, you know, like people are always like, you know, like, hey, yoga is so awesome. And I'm like, yoga is really dumb. You know, it's like, that sounds like a waste of time. You know, like, why don't we hit the fucking deadlift bar? You know, like that's worth your while, bro. And they're like, no. You don't understand.
Yeah.
Yoga is so awesome. It makes deadlifting and all that crap look like it's pointless. And I'm like, whatever. I'll be in the weight room, you know. But then one day, you know, I started doing yoga. Next thing you know, I'm like, oh my God. This is the key to everything. This is the key to like immortality, pretty much.
Dude.
I can take my hands and put them flat against the ground with my knees completely straight. And I could probably go further, but I don't know how to like bend my arms, you know, like I can't do my elbows yet.
Yeah.
But like I can literally put my nose to my knees, you know,
like
from yoga.
Wow.
How many 43-year-old dudes can you say that can do that? And I'm not like emaciatedly skinny, you know, Mr. Flexy. You know, I got some muscle.
Jeans the other day though. That was a great picture.
Oh,
I was going to pull that one up.
Listen,
but that's like a write a package. I'll write a package.
hey, skinny jeans. You're talking package. Slow down, Joel. Slow down.
That was great.
I'm saying that you're my love last time
just
on the podcast, and you're talking about my package. What's going on?
Just the fact that you could get into that, like your girlfriend's pants. I mean, that even sounds funny. Is like,
I hope so.
You know, showing the progress. It's awesome.
It was crazy because I was like, hey, I can't fit into any of my clothes anymore, Rach. This is crazy. I got to go to the Levi's store. I'm going to take you there.
The Levi's store.
Oh, dude, I love it.
Levi's. It's like mom jeans.
That's exactly what these listen. All right, I'll get back to this in a second.
Right.
So I was just like, and I'll tell you why. And so I was like, I got to get some new clothes. Nothing's fitting me.
I know
everything looked like hammer pants. I was
you're like cinching them.
I was like,
you're like cinching. Even the ones I have, I'm like cinching them in, and then you just look sloppy. You know, you look really sloppy.
Right before I went golfing today, I put on my belt. I'm in my new Levi's. And I was like, and Mark was like, hey, dude, that belt's like halfway around your waist. I'm like, yeah, I know. The belt's way too big. I got to cut it. And he's like, but isn't going to be all weird and shit at the end if you cut it? And I'm like, no, I got a blowtorch, you know? So I'm sitting there sawing my belt off, blowtorching it while we're late for our tea time. And Mark was like, come on, man, let's go. I want to putt.
Yeah.
You know, so it worked out great.
That's awesome.
But listen, here's why Levi's. Okay. As you know, I'm addicted to Cerro Gordo. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Cerro Gordo is a ghost mining town. They have a YouTube channel. Freaking amazing. Check it out.
Yep.
But here's the craziest part. You would think, if you're going to go looking in a mine, an old abandoned mine, you're going to look for some cool stuff like gold, silver, jewels, rubies, something they left behind that they didn't mine, or you're going to get into this like
dinosaur bones.
Oh my God, yeah, something crazy. But here's the craziest part. The most valuable thing, the most intense thing that you could possibly find at treasure hunting. I don't care if you're looking for, if you went looking for like gold bullion in the bottom of the Caribbean Sea that was dropped by Blackbeard's pirate ship, it still would have nothing on this. And it's Levi's from the miners' days in the 1920s and earlier. Check this out. You can verify this as well.
With
on
rivets.
YouTube. On YouTube, one guy does this for a living. It's all he does. And he went into a mine. He found a chest. He found a bunch of stuff in the chest that was, buried. It had, probably gotten trapped because of a collapse. But because it was in a chest, everything in there was pristine.
Yeah.
And inside of there was a bunch of pairs of Levi's. He grabs all these things, brings them out. Levi's bought that pair of jeans back from him and put it in their museum for $500,000.
Jeez, that's awesome.
One pair of jeans. So
That's
I was
funny.
like, I am now a Levi's fan again. So I was like, okay. And I
How did that make you a Levi's fan?
Because I realized the history. I realized like the
craftsmanship,
the durability. Yeah,
the
like
cunning.
how old and
I get
how
that.
epic and how
I get
like,
that.
and I was like, I could care less about like name brands and stuff
Yeah.
like that before this, but I wanted to support a company.
I like
and I wanted to support, like the history. They've been around since the 1800s. I was like, they do make some cool shit. You don't have to buy the mom or the dad, with the freaking loafers
all the way up your back. Yeah, you're
yeah,
like,
dude, they have some cool shit. And I went to the Levi's store over here at Woodfield. I talked to this dude who's younger than me, hip as hell, super cool dude. He was awesome. He showed me all the ins and outs and what was going on nowadays. They're not dumb. They changed with the times, but then they still have the classic shit. It was
That's
so
cool.
cool going in that store. It was, and here's the craziest
Stonewash.
part.
Yeah.
You can go 90s, you can go 80s, you can go skinny jeans, you can go whatever you want.
It would be cool to go to like the real Levi's where they had every style that they own, that
yes, that's what that was in this documentary was where they had like this, it was like a huge clothes rod that was like a football field long, and on there was all these different pairs of legendary Levi's that they have bought
all
back
the stuff.
from like 1870s and shit. It was crazy,
awesome.
dude.
Yeah.
So here's the craziest part, and this is how I knew that this was right. This is how I knew that everything was right. So the guy's like, here, try these on. These will look great on you, man. This is awesome. So we went into the fitting room. I put on the first pair, and it was like the best pair of jeans I've ever put on in my life. And I have a horrible time looking for jeans, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is great. I look up, and what's right in front of my face? A letter from a miner in 1890.
Nice,
explaining
dude.
how awesome Levi's clothes are and stuff like. I'm like, this is right. I'm like, I'll take these.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, by the way, everything in the store is half off.
Wow. You're like, double it up.
I'm freaking high-fiving this dude in the air, because we can't touch.
Yeah.
Can't
touch this as you hammer in your hammer pants.
We're doing the whole kid and play dance and stuff,
Yeah, with the feet.
Give me the stonewash ones.
Dude, that's awesome. I love it. And the history behind it, you're right, man. It's like, that's the cool shit. And that's a testament to who you are. Like, you do that in a lot of your stuff. Like, even how you supported me with No Boost 30. It's like you will always get behind your friends. I mean, for God's sakes, you sent me this weight belt. Like, that is outrageous of a gift. Like, amazing.
I knew.
Just
I'm like,
amazing.
dude, Joel will love this. It will change his life like it changed mine.
Oh,
He'll be
man.
able to revert back to this whenever he's got tough times or something like that. You throw that fucker on, you get comfortable with pain and your son
And pain.
and pain. And then you go down into that little freaking river or whatever. What's it called? The Agoyo? What's the thing next to your house?
Oh yeah, I don't know what is it called. I call it a viaduct.
Viaduct or what?
No, what do they call it? Yeah, they call it the where I go running all the time. They call it the. I don't know what they call it.
It's on the map, and I said it to you.
Canal.
You're doing. Yeah,
the canal.
That canal.
That's what they call it.
But dude, you throw that freaking thing on. You hit the trails. You go put in some work in that thing. You'll sweat your ass off in that thing. And I'm telling you right now, you come back home, you kill that thing, drop it, and you will feel like you literally take off, like you're floating.
I bet.
That's serious.
I bet.
And then you feel like you could run 1,000,000 miles an hour.
I feel like I'm gonna break this chair. I'm sitting on my drum throne. They call it drum throne. Like I feel like
I got one of them.
Not sitting on it right because I have this extra weight. I'm gonna bust this thing.
Right. You have to adjust things. Like right now, my lower back.
Yeah, I know.
Feel it.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm like gotta sit up straight.
I'm sitting up. Yeah. And like you said, it just takes the wind out of you a little bit.
It does.
Too. And you kind of are like, doing one of these. And I always love this move too, like where you can grab. Mine's a little different than yours.
Yeah, I don't have those straps.
This one. But did you get shoulder pads? I bought you shoulder pads.
Yeah, right? But I don't, with 40 pounds, I don't need it. I mean, if I had the 40 pounds in, I would need it.
Right. I got you shoulder pads just to have them. I got everything that I thought that you would be so pumped about and be able to use. And like I said, you don't even have to put all the weight in there all the time. Just put a little weight in there and just get comfortable with pain.
I think this is something that everybody should have, because again, you want to lose 15 pounds, you want to lose 20 pounds, and then when you can feel it again physically on you, you know that
what time it is.
It's easier to keep it off when you can feel what the reverse is, and you can and you can think back to that. So when you walk around the block and then you take it off, you're like, oh, like I'm not going back to that. That's what my buddy said. I texted him a picture right when I took it, and he goes, oh my gosh, my knees hurt just thinking about that.
Yeah,
just thinking about that.
I have bad
knees.
It's
It's really
cool. Mine have
cool.
been completely reconstructed, but that's part of the point.
I not know that? Yeah,
both.
both.
One of them I blew out when I was a junior. Yeah.
Glory days.
It was at Moser's house. We were playing basketball, and I
that's
just
the
landed
worst.
on one of my legs, and it went "pacow," and it snapped back.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just snapped back and came back. I mean, it wasn't like
it was
bent.
fine. I could walk.
Yeah, you weren't
just
like
the ACL, the interior ligament.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, it was just one of those things where I have bad knees. You can keep throwing excuses at me while you don't do things, and I got better ones. Like, that's the best part. I tore my bicep off. Okay,
dude,
what
tell
do you
me,
got now?
didn't you have a whole like
3 broken
wall of
vertebrae in my neck
all on your
What do you got now?
on your whole body? Like
Say
a
it
wall
again?
of kegs of beer fall on top of you, and like
That's how I broke my back. No, I had a keg route. So what I would do is I would load the kegs, and you had to do them in a certain order based on like if you had a random
Born on
red
date.
dog keg,
Red Dog.
you'd put the red dog keg on top of the 6 pallets full of Miller Lite, because Miller Lite, there's a lot of them, but the one red dog doesn't have enough to build out a 4 pallet, little setup.
Yeah.
So you would just take the red dog one and you'd put it all the way up on the top at the end.
Good
Keg
for
weighs
you.
about 140 pounds completely
yeah,
full.
that's nuts, dude.
I would move 200, 250 of those a day. And
Wow.
I was a big boy, and I was pretty strong. And eventually, though, when you're doing this, just broke 3 vertebrae in my neck. That was a wrap. Went back to college, got straight A's, got my degree. But everything happens for a reason. Some people could let that ruin them and be like, nah, I'm screwed. I'm never going to be able to do anything. I got broken vertebrae. I need surgery, blah, blah, blah. Other people will say, okay, well, now that just removes some of my options. And now I have a narrower path, but I have to just work harder to get down this path and to make this path work. You might not have as many options. I might not be able to use my body, to be a plumber or to be a carpenter or to do some stuff like that.
Sure.
So let's just change gears. Let's make it work. Let's figure it out. Let's
Dude.
double down. It started then. It started way back then, and I was just like, you got to overcome when you have issues, when you have problems. I just got out of the hospital because I'm allergic to something. And I'm trying to figure it out. And it literally put me in the hospital for 2 days. It didn't stop me. I got right back on the rings.
I was shocked. I mean, not shocked because I know you, but also like, people come out of the hospital and they're, I better take it easy for a while. And the next thing you know, it's 4, 5, 6 weeks later.
Yes.
And they're like,
fast.
and not that they don't want to start again, but it's, I took a few days off. When you were in the hospital, actually, I wasn't doing any running really.
Sure.
And it was a perfect time for me. I don't know what was going on over here, but it was like, I don't know what it was.
Though.
Yeah, I can't remember actually, but probably because we weren't going back and forth on that.
Birthday.
It was right after Payne's birthday. We had just did the trifecta thing.
Yeah, you just got confirmation of the job stuff. You just got confirmation of a bunch of different things. So you definitely needed a break.
I kind of took a few days off.
Dude. I did too. I probably should have done that, and maybe it would have changed something. Maybe not. Who knows? You were begging me to take some time off after the Spartan too. Well, and I was like, no, Joel, no days off. No days off.
That's what I said. I was like, what about
you, Cam Hanes?
You were. I was like, what about rest days? And you're like, there's no rest days. You're active recovery. And I was like, dude, calm down with the active recovery. But you are. And I started looking it up. I was like, yeah, he's right. Even these triathlon guys, they go to yoga, and I dig yoga really because I'm like a total like hippie at heart, but I haven't been implementing it into, and I mean like I meditate every day, like I'm into that type of stuff, but I haven't been implementing like the real stretching thing into my life. I mean, I'll stretch, but not like you should.
So
not like
to me,
you should.
Yoga, when you call it even yoga, it automatically gets that,
if they rebrand it to stretching, more people would probably do it.
Or like active stretching.
Yeah.
Active recovery,
Seriously.
active stretching. But yeah, you're right. They need to rebrand it, I think.
Dude, the whole thing about this, the No Boost 30 is like, and maybe it's the word I should use in some of the marketing as this thing it's going because we started actually putting a marketing company behind it, like I told you. And
yeah, so cool.
Just a couple days ago, and like people are signing up like crazy right now, which is really cool. But is the word catalyst, because
yes,
it is a catalyst to 100xing, what we're calling 100xing instead of 10xing your life.
That, baby.
And I like 100x because it makes you think past whatever you think it is. Like, so like 10xing is like, oh, if I could 10x myself, yeah, but can you 100x your life? And so when you start thinking, instead of writing a book this year, why don't I write a book in 30 days? Why don't I actually just, if I put the screws, pedal to the metal for 30 days, I could knock it out instead of giving, because we all know that any project will take as much time as you give it. If you give it a year, it'll take you a year. If you give it 30 days, and you were on my ass one day because I said, Tony, man, I got the homeschooling. I got my job. I'm trying to do this side business. I want to take care of my wife. I got to cook. I got to clean. I got to do all this shit. You're like, dude, so do we all. We all have to do that, Joel. Figure it out. Figure it out. Shave some shit. And I was like, no, but, and you're like, and I stopped. You're like, right. Actually, I didn't even push back because you're like, yeah, we all have to do that. And I was like, fuck, he's right. I'm like, I have no excuse, dude.
Yeah,
so I had to shit.
Excuse for excuse with me all day long, and I will beat you, dude.
It was like your first answer. You're like, dude, we all have to do that. So, figure it out. And I was like, damn. There's no like, you weren't like, trying to butter me up or anything. Like, hey, bud, it's okay. You can, but you're like, you have to shave some shit. You're like, you have to shave some shit off your plate. Like, what don't you want to do? And I was like, I'll still do everything. I will, but I just kicked it down the road a little bit. Cause there's one of the, then okay. I shared that exercise. If you guys haven't heard Warren Buffett, he'll say, okay, write down the top 25 goals you have in your life, right? Now circle like your first 5 that, well, I don't know what, like your top 5 or whatever, and then now just throw the rest out. Don't you can't even back burner. Like just throw that page in the drawer, and until you get these done, or until you get one off of this list, you can't even look at those yet. Exactly. And all of a sudden you'll either start knocking those off, or one of those you're going to be like, it's not as important as I thought it was. Bring the other one and you substitute, but it helps you focus on that. Some would say 5 is too many. Some would say 3, whatever you have,
Start with 1,
bandwidth
3,
for.
Do 5, whatever. Yeah.
But so I was watching a documentary. Well, it wasn't a documentary. It was Joe Rogan with, I'm going to mess his last name up. Have you seen it with Jesse Eisenberg or Eitzler or something? The guy did NetJets or Marquis Jet or something like.
Oh, was this the guy that hired Goggins and
follow him around for a month? He had Goggins follow him around for a month. His name's Jesse Eitzler, I think Itzle. He was on, but he was just on.
He's got some books or something about this.
Oh, dude, this guy's great. Great. Here's what he did.
I know of him, but I've never seen it.
Here's a story. Go. Here's a quick story. He went to so he thought, okay, NetJets or whatever has this jet company. It was a Buffett company, and he goes, sure. They're all selling like these parts of these like jets, and he goes, well, what if you just like had 25 hours? What if you could just buy a 25-hour card? And he had a bunch of people that were interested in that, so he went to Buffett and said, look, we have this idea. Well, it just so happened that one thing, he used to try to be a rapper. One thing led to another. What? Yeah, he one thing led to another where he just had done a favor for somebody that got him to be like a backstage with like Britney Spears show or something. It was really weird. And that guy happened to be like a partner of that company. So he's like, you got to get me in the room with Buffett and that. So the guy got him in the room and they pitched it, and they're like, if you think we're going to give you guys access to our line of jets, you're freaking crazy. So he went to this conference, and he stood outside this conference where all these ballers were. And he watched as they came out of there, and they went into the Starbucks, and everybody bought a latte and a muffin, a latte and a muffin, a latte and a muffin. And he's like, next morning, he went down there and he bought the entire store out of muffins, and he sat outside. And when the guy came out and he couldn't get him up, he's like, hey, you want a muffin? He's like, yeah, I got a muffin for you. And that ended up being his first client. But he told him what he wanted to do, and that guy ended up being his first client. Like, so he's thinking outside the box, because his thought was, and I said this on my podcast the other day, experience takes too long. He goes, I just need to like get an angle in because I can learn whatever I want to learn. He goes, life is too short for all the stuff that I want to do. And I was like, oh, I can really relate to this guy, right? Like that. I agree with that. He goes, how old? Check this out. He's like, You live in the same town or the same city as your parents, but I don't. So I'll use a story on myself. My mom is 73. So if you were going to ask me, okay, Joel, how old's your mom? I'd say 73. Okay, how often do you see her? I'll say, well, once, maybe twice a year. He goes, okay, well, the average life expectancy is 78. So let's say she lives 5 more years. You're going to see her maybe 10 more times. 10 more times. You have 10 more times, right? That you're going to maybe see her, right? Or 10 more holidays.
Yeah.
And that's barring any sickness, any injury, whatever it is. He's like, so
busy.
There is no time, first of all, right? So it's like people think that there's time for shit, but there isn't.
There's not.
And so he used to think about that. Like he literally would write down like how many more days he thinks he has. And then he's like, I stopped doing that every day. He did it for a long time. He goes, I stopped doing that because I already knew, like I already knew that. Because I had done it for so long. Yeah. But also it can be a negative, right?
Yeah.
To some point. But yeah. But he's like, I got the gist out of that. And so this guy is amazing. And I like the sentiment of the experience thing. Experience takes too long. And I think we use that a lot of times. Like, how do I get to the next step of my life if I don't have the experience, you know?
Can I talk to that point a little bit really quick?
Yeah.
So me and Marco were golfing today, like you said, right? And Marco came up to me with an idea that he wanted to start sports betting and gambling on sports and trying to make some side hustle money that way. And we had just gotten approved for Illinois to have sports betting. And I was like, okay. I'm like, at first I was like, it's kind of a dumb idea. You're probably just going to lose your ass. You know, that was my first initial instinct, but I was like,
there are pros. There are people that do it as a living. Yeah.
So the first thing I said to Marco was, there are pros that do this. I follow them on, so I don't have social media anymore. I used to follow them on social media, and I know that some guys do really well. And he's like, I've got a guy that I actually bought into his system, and I'm going to try this out. And I go, okay. I go, you have zero experience in this. Yeah. I'm like, here's how you're going to catch up. I go, you need to take this guy's guidance and you're going to pay for it. Now, the only way you're going to be able to catch up and the only way you're going to be able to make this work is by using his system, but you can't just mirror his bets and just depend on him to do all the thinking. You need to see why he's taking these bets. You need to see what is his reasoning, behind, this spread versus this over versus this stuff, because you're going to lose money. Sure. And if you lose money and you're just copying this guy and you're not learning anything, you're wasting your time, and don't do it. But if you're going to waste some money and you're going to take some losses and you learn from it, you're just paying for an education.
That's a good point.
And that's how it goes with everything.
No, that's true. I mean, so you have to have what you were saying is you have to have some sort of strategy going in. You can't just say, well, we're going to see how it goes. Like you have to almost, and
I'm just going to steal this guy's stuff.
Yeah.
You can't, that won't
and
work.
Bet what he's betting and do what he's doing.
I'm just going to copy him. You can't copy the guy next to you in school. And when the A+ student sitting next to you and you just copy all of his math scores, because when you get out into the real world and someone's like, oh my God, I see you got great math scores here. We'd love to put you in this position. And then you're like, oh, I don't know what any of this is. You'll be exposed, and then you'll lose that opportunity. Yeah, so why not just max out your opportunities by learning right away? So for example, do you think that guy really wanted to buy all those muffins and do all that stuff? No. But he saw it as a way to pay for experience quickly. So he paid for his education right there. And and it was real quick, like you said.
That was smart.
Then from there, he was able to pay for more of his education. He was not successful. He didn't make $1 million the next day. He had to keep paying for his education. You can pay for your education 2 different ways. One, by taking out school loans and going to 4-year college, or 2, doing what that guy did, or doing what I just said.
Smart. Yeah, you're right. I think, and you have to think outside like that, outside the box, whatever, like that, when you want to do a thing, like
anything.
The number one thing, and really what has made probably your podcast successful and any of the stuff that I'm doing is that we finally had to just say, I'm okay with maybe embarrassing myself. I'm okay with saying something wrong or stupid or looking. You have to be vulnerable. And if you can't be vulnerable, then what's the point? Like,
so
that has this to do with No Boots 30. Like, you have to be vulnerable enough to think like, because most people are like, I don't have a problem, I don't need to quit, or maybe you don't. Right. That's okay, but
that's not even what we're saying.
Yeah.
And you know what's so crazy, Joel, is when somebody says to me, this is a great question. You need to write this down because we need to copy some questions and talk about some questions later. What does it mean to be an adult? Ooh. When I asked myself that back in the day, like a long time ago, maybe in my early 30s, I want to say is the first time that I really got an answer. A lot of people would be like, well, you get married and you have a job and you have a house and a mortgage, son. That's what it means to be an adult. Take some goddamn responsibility. Okay. And you're just like, all right, that seems to be said a lot, okay, that's great. What do you think it means to be an adult? And someone's like, well, I think it means that you get to a certain age. Once you're 21, you're an adult, and you're like, okay, what do you think it means to be an adult? And you get these answers and a lot of people will parrot like the same 2 or 3 things, and what I found was none of that's right. None of that's right. If that's your opinion, that's great. But what I think, this is me now, and I've seen it work, and I've seen it work when I've told other people this and they've applied it, is exactly what you just said. Nobody cares. Don't worry about it. No one's going to make fun of you. And if they do, who fucking cares? They're jealous. They're the only people that make fun of somebody are the people a couple rungs below you. Nobody above you will make fun down. No one. And if they do, you're going to run into I was
sitting here thinking, where did I heard this? I heard this on your podcast the other day. I was walking home and you said that exact line. That's really good.
Nobody above you is going to ridicule you down. It's always people from underneath ridiculing or, making fun of you up.
That's why when you see, when you see somebody, let's just say they're on the side of the road running and they're severely overweight, but they're out there trying, like, I'll honk my horn, I'll put my fist out the window, and hopefully they don't think I'm like making fun of them because I'm just like, I'm
sure that he's got a lot of feedback.
I'm like, hell yeah, because it's, I know how hard it is for me to get out there sometimes day to day. And look, when I talk about running, let's say jogging, because I'm at like a 11-minute pace. I'm at like, if I do a 10.5 or a 10-minute pace, that's like clicking. We did our half marathons the other day, and I think my average pace was like 12-minute mile or something.
I thought I was going to die after that 5K when I was like, I'm going to run this.
Oh, you did? Oh, geez.
Well, remember I was putting in 8-minute miles, and you're like,
you were hauling. I know. I was like, damn, dude, I'm going to get smoked in this thing. But then I quickly said, I cannot compare Jordan Peterson. In fact, we really connected on Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Rules, and our podcast was even named Order and Chaos. But he will say, like, don't compare yourself to anybody, only compare yourself to who you were yesterday. And so like, I can't, I immediately stopped myself. I was like, it doesn't matter if you and Rachel are just clipping, because what does that matter? Like, just that I only want to complete this. So I just want to complete this stuff. And I did.
I learned the hard way. Like, and I had to, after you pointed that out, I was like, you're right, dude. I'm not going to survive if I try to do this again.
You were flying. I was like, how the hell is he's fast? I was like, damn, I thought he was fat or something. I was like, how's he going? I was like, he was going so fast.
What the No Boost 30.
Yeah,
225 no mile.
Dude, that's great, man.
So we're getting a little bit late. I want you to enjoy the rest of the evening and hang out with the wife and do whatever you got to do.
Yeah, sure.
But I just wanted to end it on this with the No Boost 30 thing. So people do ask me, they're like, Jones, COVID, everything's been going on, everything's been shut down, everything's been chaos. Why am I looking at you? You've lost all this weight. You're driving a Tesla now. You're out of debt.
That's a good point.
You have all these things going for you. You have, all this stuff happening. And I just,
you can't even list how much stuff you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just insane. Like, all these things have been working out, and I feel so bad when there's so much chaos and so many problems going on in the world. But like, everyone's just like, man, how you doing it? Like, what's going on? You're killing it in the stock market. You're killing it in crypto. You build this cryptocurrency, man.
You're mining crypto. Yeah.
How are you doing this? Do you sleep? I get that all the time. And I'm like, do I sleep like 10 hours a day? They're like, what?
It's crazy.
And I'm just like, yeah, dude, sleep like a baby. And they're like, this is nuts, dude. How are you doing? I go, I just stopped drinking. And they're like, what do you mean? It's not that easy, dude. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
for real. I mean, that's what I attested to. Sure. There's other things that'll factor in. Don't get me wrong. I get it. But literally the only thing that I really am doing different this year, I'm not drinking.
Yeah.
And it all started with no booze on that January 1st day.
I'm telling you,
I'm not even fucking around.
I know you're not. I mean, you're not that kind of guy, and
No.
I it's awesome
I
that
don't
you
make
say
up
that.
shit just to support you.
I know.
I tell you,
you would
the
never,
honest
you
shit.
would never do that.
Yeah.
I know that's the best part about it.
And I told you this before this.
100%. The cool thing about that is, and we always say this. This is a big theme for you and I. Is the byproduct of whatever you start. We're always just like, hey, whenever you start this one thing, it always becomes, you never know what it's going to become, right? And so you did this as a challenge, maybe to support me, maybe because you thought it was a great idea, to try, and then
needed to do it.
You locked it down, and all these other things gave you the room to come into your life. It was still part of you. Yeah, it was
you're on the
positive.
right path. Yes, you're doing the right thing. Yes, this is working. Keep going.
It's amazing.
Keep going. And it was just, yes, there was hiccups. I just got out of the hospital. Like I said, yes, I had some problems, in the summer too, with, like some financial stuff where I had overcommitted a little bit when I was trying to do the debt reduction thing. Yeah. Yes, I was a little out of my league when I didn't know what I was doing with like the cryptocurrency, and I lost a bunch of money in the stock market when I made a couple of mistakes, but then I rebounded, I doubled down. I kept grinding. Without that positive attitude, without all the extra time, without all the extra money, that you save from not drinking, without all the extra everything that provided me with all these opportunities. Like I said, after the no booze 30 thing, I just had so many opportunities, and that's all you can ask for. Yeah. This world is not about equality. Okay. Everyone's begging for equality. Everyone's like, equality, like the 60s, equality.
Yeah.
That's not the answer. The answer is equality of opportunity. Everybody should have equal opportunity. And that's what I'm saying. Give yourself equal opportunity. Yeah. Stop drinking. Try the program out for 30 days and just give yourself equal opportunity for 30 days.
Yeah, baby.
Then go back to it and party your fucking balls off for New Year's. Then go back to No Booze 30 and give yourself another February of equal opportunity. Eventually, you'll be like, January sucked. I was drinking. February was great. I wasn't drinking. March sucked. St. Patty's, I was drinking. April was great because I wasn't drinking. March and May and Cinco de Mayo sucked because I was drinking. June didn't suck because I stopped drinking. You'll start to catch the pattern. You know what I mean?
See. Yeah. No. That's beautiful. It makes perfect sense. I mean, what are you going to do? I appreciate you sharing that, man. I mean, I know a lot of it, we've had a positive, 2020, at least as far as like some of our health stuff. I mean, hey, we've still both run into shit, but
I mean,
it's just able to like rebound from that. So I appreciate
have every excuse in the world
us,
to not do it either, but you don't, do it. I mean, come on, dude. When I said to you, hey, Joel, you want to run a 5K, and the next day a 10K, and then the next day a half marathon with me, nobody else is going to say yes to that.
And I was like,
You tried to talk yourself out of it.
I totally did.
Didn't do it. And we talked about this last time, and I
Yeah.
don't want to be redundant, but dude,
good.
that's the type of dude that you are, and that's why I know that No Booze 30 is going to be a success.
Well, and thanks, dude. And the last point on that is because when you knock out that 30 days, you have like the little bit of this self-confidence. You're like, it's like when we ran that half marathon. Just the fact that I did that today when I went for a run and I know I was only doing a mile, I was like, I mean, I could do this. Sleeping like backwards. I was going to say, you know what I mean? I was running up to grab a coffee. I was running up to get a coffee
That'll kill you.
That probably killed me on the way back. But it's that. It gives you the self-confidence.
That's a
like
Freudian slip.
That, two of them. That is weird. It gives you a little bit of self-confidence, like this little bit of strength.
A little chip. Yeah,
a little chip. And you're like, I can do
teardrop right here when you go into jail.
And what I've heard is that people will celebrate like on day 31 and their hangover is so shitty that they just lock it back up.
Yeah,
they just lock it back up because they're like, oh, that was bad, dude.
I didn't do that. I was done with hangovovers, bro.
That's awesome.
I was so done with hangovers.
No, dude, you're great, man. Thank you so much.
Crazy too. Yeah. Just because we can keep talking forever.
Yeah, I know.
We're golfing today, right? And Marco was struggling a little bit in the front 9, and then I started helping him a little bit. Like I asked for your assistance,
Yeah.
just someone to look at your swing, do some stuff. That's why we busted out the phone and started recording each other,
Nice,
so I could show him, and the only thing I kept telling him is I was like, dude, listen, you're not going to fix your swing plane right now. You're not going to fix your address. You're not going to fix your contact point. You're not going to do any of that right now.
Yeah.
What I want you to do is focus on confidence. If you get confident out here, even with limited skills,
that's really good.
You're gonna kill it, dude.
Yeah.
And so he turned it around immediately mentally, and he started to have fun with it. He started to get confident. He started to hit the ball off the tee. And I'm like, focus on how great that tee shot was and get confident there. Now apply it to your irons. Now apply it to the greens. Now apply it to the next tee shot.
That's good advice.
One after another, he just started knocking out pars and bogeys. And this guy's in, Snowman City. So it was awesome. And
that's
to see
really
his
good
face
advice.
light up, and to see him high-fiving me and telling me he's going to buy a season pass next year and we're going to go all the time, and he wants to get new clubs and I'm just like, this is awesome. Look at the confidence. It's like a freaking radiating off of him,
Dude, I'm
like
telling you. God, that was really good advice, because you're never going to fix anything on the course. You just kind of have to play with whatever. If you're doing a 30-yard slice, then just play a 30-yard slice that day. Seriously, just aim a little bit left and and be like, own the slice. Yeah. Because then you know what you're playing. But so many people try to fix
start nailing it, and you get confident.
Yeah, you just hit the little cutter in. Mm-hmm. No, that's smart. Dude,
confidence.
Thanks. Yeah, it'll give
have the confidence to do no boost 30 for a little bit.
Yeah.
Just have the confidence.
30 days. It's easy.
Get the confidence from no boost 30.
It'll happen.
Get that confidence.
Yeah. That's good shit, brother. Thank you. I appreciate it.
When are we talking again?
Next week or whatever.
Want to do Monday?
Next week, Thursday. Yeah, let's do Monday, because next week, Thursday is Thanksgiving.
Let's do Monday.
Okay, I'm in.
Go enjoy your family. Go enjoy your weekend. I'm sure I'll be texting you about like 2 minutes about something crazy that I forgot to say here. So thanks for letting me be part of the journey for No Boost 30.
Yeah, man. Of course, we're in this thing, 100xing this thing together. Guys, girls, whoever, if you drop some comments, we'd love to hear. If some of you that went through the program, we'd love to hear any of your stories, anything that you've been crushing since, how much weight you lost, if you want to share, or like what's happened or what transpired.
Some goals you knocked out.
Yeah, like maybe you started running, maybe you started
skydiving. Give me the 2020
maybe
recap in 3 things down below.
I love it.
3 things 2020 that were awesome, that you've never done before, that you've always wanted to do, that you've crushed in your life in 2020, down below right now.
Crushing life.
Thanks, Pilk.
Later, bud.
Later, brother.